Of the planes returning to Offutt Air Force Base. The runway, which has been closed for a year and a half, reopens tomorrow afternoon.
It provides scientists with the tools they need to breed plants able to cope with a changing world.
If you believe the media hype, then the Svalbard Global Seed Vault is preparation for doomsday.
From a radiation-shielded pyramid to an impenetrable New York fortress designed to withstand nuclear attacks, a nearly disaster-proof Chinese power station, and a secret government facility buried deep within a Colorado mountain, join us as we show you the top 10 strongest megaprojects in the world capable of surviving a nuclear attack. Number 10. Raven Rock Mountain Complex. Have you ever wondered if the USA has backup plans in case of a nuclear disaster? Hidden within the small town of Blue Ridge Summit in Franklin County, Pennsylvania, lies the most critical facility in America's contingency plans, the underground Pentagon. The Raven Rock Mountain Complex is an enormous underground bunker designed to withstand and survive a nuclear attack on the United States. Spanning across 650 acres of land carved deep within the mountain, the Raven Rock Mountain Complex was constructed in the early 1940s as the threat of humanity's newfound nuclear capabilities started to materialize. If nuclear war was ever to break out and target major cities like Washington, D.C., the government would utilize Raven Rock as an alternative base of operations to continue governing the country. It possesses all the necessary amenities and infrastructures that would allow full continuity of government operations. This has led many to label it as the underground Pentagon. The origins of this massive bunker date back to the early 1950s and the Truman administration. The initial construction saw the completion of 3 main 3-story operational buildings embedded within the hollowed-out mountain. Later expansions added 2 more buildings, bringing the total number of operational structures to 5. The complex contains dedicated fire and police departments, medical facilities, dining halls, and more. It was specifically engineered to withstand nuclear, biological, and chemical attacks and house up to 5,000 government personnel in the event of an emergency evacuation. Given its critical purpose, the location of Raven Rock is highly classified and does not appear on any public maps. It sits approximately 150 miles outside of Washington, D.C., allowing important officials to access it quickly via helicopter within 40 minutes if needed. Multiple entry points exist, including the western, eastern, and southern gates, providing access even if certain entrances are blocked. Few pictures of the interior spaces exist due to the high levels of secrecy. From what is available, the interior reflects a no-frills functional design to support government operations. The tunnels branching out underground resemble a small city, with concrete walls and sleek hallways connecting the buildings. During construction, extensive excavation work was done to carve this massive bunker out of the mountainside. Reinforced concrete floors and ceilings up to 5 feet thick separate each level, enhanced by additional independent structural steel and supports. This allows the complex to withstand heavy vibrations from nuclear shock waves and continue operating unimpeded. Raven Rock provides all the accommodations and supplies needed to function independently for extended periods. Food stocks and water reservoirs exist in massive quantities, including over 1.5 million gallons of water readily available. A natural freshwater spring running within the mountain itself provides an indefinite water source. With its own medical facilities, living quarters, dining services, and vehicular entrances, the facility houses everything required to survive and govern while cut off from the outside world. The Raven Rock Mountain Complex remained in operation throughout the Cold War, poised to take over command and control operations if America's seat of power was compromised. It continues functioning today, ready to provide a vital lifeline to preserve leadership and government chains of command in the event of a crisis. Number 9. Pyramid of North Dakota.
All right, we got a biker gang driving around the nuclear pyramid of North Dakota.
Hidden in the remote plains of North Dakota near the town of Nakoma lies a curious Cold War relic cloaked in secrecy. Towering above the flat landscape is a mysterious 4-sided concrete pyramid structure spanning 60 feet tall and 240 feet wide at its base. This abandoned behemoth, known formally as the Stanley R. Mickelson Safeguard Complex, concealed one of America's most advanced nuclear defense networks against the threat of Soviet attack. Originally called the Nakoma Midwest Facility, the pyramidal complex was conceived in the 1960s when intercontinental ballistic missiles emerged as a serious threat. Construction commenced in 1969 by the Army Corps of Engineers, requiring 5 years and over $6 billion to complete. The pyramid housed critical radar arrays designed to detect incoming warheads, while underground bunkers supported a network of anti-ballistic missile launch sites. On October 1, 1975, the Safeguard Complex became operational, using powerful scanning radars to survey skies for potential nuclear launches. However, the next day, Congress voted to deactivate the entire Safeguard system. Despite the futuristic missile shield just going on alert, legislators felt its capabilities against more advanced threats were limited. Just over 6 months later in 1976, the Stanley R. Michelson facility was permanently shut down. When designing such an advanced network, engineers spared no expense in constructing the main pyramid to withstand attack. Its heavy-duty concrete exterior could endure nearby detonations, while its inclined walls deflected damaging shockwaves. The structure contained steel reinforcements weighing over 27 million pounds, more than a U.S. Navy destroyer. Inside, shock-absorbent isolators supported sensitive equipment against violent vibrations from distant explosions. While the Safeguard Complex operated for just a single day before standing down, its hardened engineering and radiation shielding reflect foresight against threats that thankfully never materialized. Vestiges of its ambitious technology still stand ready, encased within that mysterious concrete pyramid. The once state-of-the-art complex represents both the ingenuity and excesses surrounding humanity's Cold War standoff at the precipice of mutually assured destruction. Number 8. Offutt Air Force Base.
Welcome to Offutt Air Force Base. I'm Staff Sergeant Rochelle Blake.
And I'm Senior Airman Rachel Hammis.
Situated approximately 10 miles south of Omaha, Nebraska lies one of the United States' most vital strategic military bases, Offutt Air Force Base. Having origins dating back to World War I, Offutt AFB today houses several critical operational commands important to America's defense capabilities. These include the headquarters for U.S. Strategic Command, or USS STRATCOM, a unified command tasked with oversight of America's global strike capabilities, ballistic missile defense, military space operations, cybersecurity, and other strategic deterrent roles. Additionally, Offutt AFB serves as the home base for one of America's most advanced and specialized aircraft, the E-4B Doomsday plane. This airborne fortress serves as an aerial command center for the U.S. military and government, allowing continuity of operations in the aftermath of disasters, enemy attacks, or other contingencies that could compromise ground-based command and control systems. As an E-4B flagship location, Offutt houses these unique planes ready for immediate deployment whenever they are called into action. Given Offutt AFB's responsibility for highly sensitive missions, it requires extensive facilities for command, maintenance, and support, covering nearly 10 square miles. Over 50 separate facilities make up Offutt Air Force Base. At its core lies a large runway over 12,000 feet long to accommodate military aircraft of all sizes. Hangars, maintenance shops, warehouses, and administrative offices surround the flight line area. Separate headquarters buildings house USTRATCOM and wing leadership units, including briefing theaters for high-level military briefings and decisions. Most importantly, Offutt AFB serves as the lifeblood for all E-4B takeoff and landing operations. Its robust maintenance and logistical infrastructure keep these specialized planes ready around the clock. Each E-4B aircraft is built to endure the strains of a nuclear attack and continue functioning as an airborne center for military command. Reinforced against electromagnetic pulses and radiation, the Doomsday plane can stay aloft for up to 72 hours fully self-sustained. While Offutt's facilities provide immense support for the Doomsday plane's unique role, the airframe itself is specifically engineered to survive catastrophic conditions. The fuselage uses advanced laminated quartz shielding integrated into the aircraft's skin, protecting internal electronics from intense radiation and voltage spikes from a nuclear blast's electromagnetic effects. Multi-layered screens on windows filter specific wavelengths of light associated with nuclear detonations. Onboard atmospheric systems create positive air pressure so contaminated external air cannot infiltrate the cabin. Stockpiles of provisions allow weeks of independent flight operations. No other planes in the U.S. military inventory provide such a comprehensive integration of survivability and autonomous capability. Offutt AFB's central location near Omaha provides optimal positioning for the Doomsday fleet to reach any part of the continental United States. within hours. Its comprehensive facilities and specialized personnel ensure the Doomsday planes remain perpetually mission-ready. With America's strategic forces and command authority reliant on assets like the E-4B Offutt Air Force Base, provides an indispensable and sturdy bastion from which America's commanders exercise control in even the most unpredictable and dangerous situations. Number 7. Doomsday Vault. Plants have played a crucial role throughout human history, with their survival intricately linked to ours. In a bid to protect this vital relationship and ensure long-term survival, a repository was built deep within the icy rock of an Arctic mountain on a remote island halfway between Norway and the North Pole, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault.
If you believe the media hype, then the Svalbard Global Seed Vault is preparation for doomsday.
This inconspicuous structure, driven hundreds of feet into the tundra, represents humanity's vital backup plan against an unpredictable future, preserving the agricultural heritage of thousands of years and safeguarding the biodiversity of food crops for generations to come. Carved into solid stone over 400 feet inside the mountain, the vault contains row upon row of seeds carefully packaged and stored at frigid temperatures.
There is over 1 million seeds in there from like 5,000 different kind of crops.
In total, it houses over 900,000 seed varieties from nearly every country on Earth, the largest and most diverse agricultural collection anywhere in the world. This includes common crops like corn, rice, and wheat, along with their wild cousins, and hundreds of thousands of other plant varieties, ranging from the everyday to the rare and exotic. It functions like a giant safety deposit box for seeds. The idea is to back up and preserve the living genetic material contained in seeds against all kinds of potential threats, including the ultimate risk of nuclear war. The frozen Arctic offers natural protection against even the worst disasters, while ensuring the samples remain preserved for centuries in deep hibernation. The need for indestructible vault storage buried deep in a remote polar location highlights the precarious state of the existing global seed banks. There are some 1,700 gene banks worldwide that conserve, study, and share this agricultural heritage and biodiversity. But they are vulnerable to underfunding, accidents, natural disasters, and even nuclear attacks. Having a redundant supply of seeds in a facility engineered to withstand a nearby nuclear strike provides insurance for humanity's food supply in the most dire scenarios. Without efforts to back up critical genetic diversity, the aftermath of widespread nuclear war could doom survivors to food shortages and potential starvation.
It provides scientists with the tools they need to breed plants able to cope with a changing world,
threatening civilization. In addition to safeguarding existing diversity, the vault also ensures the future evolution of agriculture can continue even after a global catastrophe. The extensive collection protects priceless genetic traits that may hold the key to developing more resilient crops needed for our changing planet in the coming decades and centuries after nuclear war. As climate change, radioactive fallout, and population decline threaten food security, the vault provides hope that hidden inside one of hundreds of thousands of seeds might be the secret to breeding the next generation of radiation-resistant, drought-tolerant, or high-yield crop strains. While named the Doomsday Vault, this moniker conjures images of an apocalyptic end-time scenario like nuclear winter. In reality, the Svalbard Seed Vault principally safeguards against smaller but no less consequential destruction and threats facing gene banks around the world. It provides reasonable assurance that whatever challenges tomorrow brings, even nuclear holocaust, the diversity of our past remains protected. Number 6. Three Gorges Dam. Spanning the mighty Yangtze River in central China's Hubei province stands the Three Gorges Dam, recognized as the world's largest power station of any kind. This gravity dam stretches 1.4 miles across and soars 600 feet high, generating up to 22,500 megawatts of hydroelectric power from the movement of the third longest river on Earth. Constructed between 1994 and 2012, the project elicited both praise for its monumental engineering feats and controversy for its staggering $26 billion price tag and the relocation of over 1 million residents. Despite an arduous construction process requiring over 27 million cubic meters of concrete, the Chinese government proudly hails the Three Gorges as a symbol of China's growing technical prowess. However, experts inside and outside China have debated whether the dam could withstand a destructive scenario like a direct missile attack. According to statements from the Chinese Society for Hydropower Engineering, Three Gorges' rugged composition would withstand even a massive military offensive. The vast quantities of steel and concrete forming the dam structure provide immense resilience against external forces. Over 463,000 tons of steel reinforce the concrete mass, reportedly enough to forge the Eiffel Tower 60 times over. Government statements assert that Three Gorges' design accounted for a broad spectrum of risk scenarios from the outset, including nuclear attacks. However, some international analysts remain skeptical if the dam truly possesses adequate robustness in its foundations to endure a direct bunker-busting munition designed to penetrate hardened targets. Regardless of the dam's survival chances against weapons, the broader consequences of a failure could prove catastrophic. The reservoir behind the dam holds over 39 trillion gallons of water, stretching over 370 miles upstream. Over 40 million Chinese citizens live along this floodplain. Any uncontrolled downstream torrent could swamp major cities like Wuhan within hours, with millions potentially displaced. Three Gorges also anchors the massive west-east power transmission route across China, supplying electricity to the densely populated East Coast. A disabled dam would throttle industrial productivity. While no infrastructure on the Three Gorges scale is invulnerable, the government maintains every effort was made to safeguard the dam from worst-case contingencies like military strikes. Time will ultimately tell whether this pride in China's civil engineering can deliver reliable energy and prevent downstream devastation as intended over its 100-plus-year design lifespan. With over a decade of operations completed, Three Gorges' biggest tests may still lie ahead as pressure mounts behind its mammoth barrier. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. It's widely known that the strongest megaprojects in the world, capable of surviving a nuclear blast, are mostly kept hidden, and their locations are top secret. Of course, revealing the coordinates of these protective shelters would be unwise and would defeat the very purpose they are built for. Rumor also has it that the notorious Area 51 in Nevada, shrouded in UFO mythology, houses several bunkers designed for nuclear protection and continuity of government operations. Reportedly, back in the tense Cold War era, an otherworldly dome-shaped bunker was constructed there that appears to be made of some sort of transparent material. However durable, we can only hope the need for such fortified bunkers never arises, as civilians invariably suffer the most from the humanitarian catastrophes unleashed by nuclear warfare. More than infrastructure, these shelters represent an uneasy acknowledgement of our continued flirtation with our own annihilation in the nuclear age. What are your thoughts on nuclear armaments and massive underground shelters apparently built for the privileged few? Let us know in the comments. Number 5. Eurotunnel. Connecting the United Kingdom and continental Europe lies an engineering marvel unmatched anywhere else in the world. The Eurotunnel system linking England and France beneath the cold waters of the English Channel. At over 31 miles long, the Eurotunnel stands as the longest undersea tunnel on Earth. This dual-purpose vehicle-carrying and rail tunnel provides the only direct physical connection between the British Isles and the European mainland. The origins of the Eurotunnel date back to the early 1800s and the ambitious dreams of French mining engineer Albert Mathieu Favier, who envisioned a tunnel system linking England and France. However, it took until the late 1980s for Favier's concepts to become reality. Construction commenced in 1987 after years of political wrangling and engineering challenges. To reach completion, 13 massive boring machines gnawed through chalk marl beneath the channel, carving out separate rail tunnels and a central service tunnel. In total, the Eurotunnel project required over 230 miles of tunneling, creating 2 main passenger and freight train tunnels, plus the smaller service and access tunnel. Interconnecting cross passages join the rail tunnels together every 375 meters. Trains use one tunnel for each direction, looping back around at terminals on either end. The central access tunnel provides maintenance and emergency egress capabilities. At its lowest point, the Eurotunnel descends 250 feet beneath the seabed, making it one of the deepest undersea tunnels ever constructed. 3 massive marine segment tunnel entrances on each side keep seawater out despite immense water pressure. Entire sections were prefabricated ashore to streamline assembly. Approximately 23.5 miles of the Eurotunnel's total length passes fully underwater. When operational, a trip through the Eurotunnel takes passengers only 35 minutes to traverse between England and France. Specialized shuttle trains built to fit within the narrow tunnels carry vehicles and their occupants across the channel. With over 20 million annual passengers and millions of tons of freight traffic, the Eurotunnel provides an invaluable transit artery linking the UK and Europe. Could the Eurotunnel potentially serve as an emergency shelter in the event of a nuclear conflict? At over 250 feet underground, passengers riding through its deepest subsea sections would likely find refuge from the initial destructive blast and shock waves. However, as an unsealed transit corridor, radiation could still infiltrate the tunnel without the proper air filtration systems that purpose-built shelters possess. If trapped midway inside the tunnel when ventilation systems shut down, passengers could face risks from oxygen depletion, carbon monoxide buildup, and radioactive particles entering both ends. While those deep within the tunnel might temporarily endure a nearby surface detonation, the Eurotunnel lacks the hardened radiation protection and independent survival capabilities that a true fallout shelter requires. Once emergency power was exhausted, the tubes would become inhospitable. While not purpose-built as a bunker, the fortified subsea sections of the Eurotunnel could theoretically provide very short-term shelter against immediate nuclear fallout effects for those luckily transiting its lowest sections. But its fundamental design as an underground transportation artery means travelers would need to plan to reach one of its terminal exits within hours before air quality deteriorated. Still, when built to withstand the immense pressures of the English Channel itself, the resilient engineering underlying this iconic tunnel remains noteworthy. Number 4. Cheyenne Mountain Complex.
Has been a fixture in Colorado Springs for 60 years now, keeping us safe in a dangerous world.
Carved deep within the rugged Rockies lies a top-secret military complex critical to America's national security, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Just 10 miles southeast of Colorado Springs sits this hardened bunker, shrouded in mystery. Buried within 2,000 feet of solid granite lies a small underground city. Accessible only by a 2-kilometer tunnel, the complex has 15 steel and concrete buildings mounted on enormous springs. This isolation and resilience allow it to operate independently, even through nuclear war. Blast valves seal its tunnels and filter radioactive particles, water and power to sustain life for months. The heart of the complex is a grid of intersecting tunnels and blast doors. 3 main tunnels connect 4 smaller ones in a web-like shape. If any single tunnel is blocked, the whole facility remains accessible. The blast doors themselves are imposing 25-ton concrete slabs that can seal instantly at need. Nothing is left to chance in Cheyenne Mountain's design. The buildings stand separate from the mountain's walls and sit on 3,319 special shock absorbers, allowing them to sway up to 1 foot horizontally or vertically from explosions or tectonic shifts. Even the lakes around the site supply a ready reserve of water. This entire environment creates a highly survivable ecosystem. Key personnel from U.S. Space Command and other agencies could reach Cheyenne Mountain quickly via air and enter through one of its fortified portals. The site can accommodate 800 essential staff ready to direct U.S. forces worldwide. Its communication systems link global satellites, ground assets, and America's nuclear forces. After 9/11 and the Cold War's end, some assumed Cheyenne Mountain was retired, but its continuing importance as a command redoubt became clear as Russia resurged. In 2018, over $700 million was allocated to upgrade key systems against modern threats like cyber warfare and EMPs. The Pentagon plans to keep the complex viable for another 50 years. Number 3. Long Lines Building. In the heart of downtown Manhattan looms a sinister windowless skyscraper known as the Long Lines Building. This concrete monolith stands ominously at 33 Thomas Street, keeping a silent watch over the city. Built to withstand nuclear war, the building's imposing facade conceals a darker secret: its role as a covert NSA spy hub. Completed in 1974, the 30-story Long Lines building was constructed by AT&T as a telephone exchange facility. It channeled 150 million phone calls per day, becoming the largest hub in the world. Its design hinted at its clandestine purpose. The architect crafted its exterior without a single window, avoiding any structural weaknesses. With no openings in its nearly 3-foot-thick concrete walls, the building could seal itself and function as an impenetrable fortress. It held rations and fuel for 1,500 people for up to 2 weeks. In reality, 33 Thomas Street was engineered not just for communications, but as a doomsday bunker. At the height of Cold War paranoia, AT&T built hardened facilities that could survive close-range nuclear blasts and provide government communications. The Long Lines building was placed near Wall Street to house critical infrastructure. But in the modern era, most equipment was relocated to other sites. A skeleton staff of 100 remained at the building, still guarded by strict security procedures. This triggered rumors that 33 Thomas Street now had a new secret purpose. In 2016, classified documents revealed the building's role in supporting NSA surveillance programs. Code named Titan Point functions as a major NSA hub, tapping worldwide communications. Its prime location lets the agency intercept calls, emails, and other data from overseas cables. So as New Yorkers hustle past this faceless tower, an unseen world hums within. The building sits windowless and anonymous, hiding the critical tasks it enables to infiltrate global networks. Though the Cold War it was built for faded long ago, 33 Thomas Street still quietly serves America's national security interests from the heart of the city that never sleeps. Number 2. Gotthard Base Tunnel. Deep in the Swiss Alps winds the world's longest and deepest rail tunnel, the 35-mile Gotthard Base Tunnel. This engineering landmark took 17 years to bore beneath the mountains, allowing trains to dash between northern and southern Europe under the mighty Alps. But could this massive tunnel withstand a nuclear attack on the mountain above? The tunnel was arduously constructed through 73 different kinds of rock. Engineers used explosives to carve through the stubborn granite, removing 28 million tons of stone during decades of work. Building the tunnel required 4,080 tons of dynamite and cost over $12 billion. The result is a route straight through the bowels of the mountains, avoiding avalanche zones and steep gradients above. It shaves hours of travel times to Italy by circumventing the winding mountain passes previously used. The tunnel opened in 2016 and now sees passenger trains speeding beneath the Alps at 150 miles per hour. At its lowest point, the Gotthard Tunnel is 7,000 feet below the mountain's surface. While this doesn't make it nuclear-proof, experts speculate the overhead rock would provide formidable protection from radiation. The tunnel's resilience was displayed in 2013 when explosives accidentally collapsed a short section. However, without blast doors, radioactive particles could infiltrate both ends after an attack, and provisions for survival would be minimal. Some supplies aboard the train, but none stockpiled inside the tunnel itself. Evacuation would be challenging if exits were blocked. Turning the Gotthard into a functional nuclear bunker would require sealing off the ends and installing air filtration systems. Currently, the tunnel is not supplied with these. Lacking proper modifications, it would essentially become a tomb for those trapped inside after an atomic disaster on the surface. The tunnel's depth and heavy rock shielding above might spare its occupants from immediate death in a nuclear strike, but it offers zero long-term sustainability without Swiss civil defense authorities establishing it as an official shelter. The Gotthard's protection would only last until the supplies aboard its stranded trains ran out. The tunnel remains just a travel shortcut under the Alps. Perhaps one day it will receive upgrades to serve as an emergency nuclear hideaway, keeping Switzerland running if war ever returns. But unless specially equipped for this purpose, its mere length and depth alone provide minimal refuge. The Gotthard is a marvel of engineering, not a fallout shelter. Number 1. NORAD Complex in North Bay. Nestled along the shores of Lake Nipissing in northeastern Ontario lies the small city of North Bay. With a population under 55,000, this tranquil community seems an unlikely location for one of the most critical military facilities outside the United States. Yet during the Cold War's tensest years, North Bay served as the vital nerve center coordinating North America's defenses against the dreaded threat of Soviet nuclear missiles. In the 1960s, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, set out to build a new home for its SAGE early warning system. SAGE was a pioneering computer network that aggregated radar data to detect incoming bomber aircraft or missiles. The enormous computers required their own hardened facility to protect them from nuclear bombs. A site near North Bay was selected, deemed ideal thanks to the region's stable granite bedrock. Construction began in 1959 on a bunker buried 600 feet into the Canadian Shield. When completed, North Bay's super concrete igloo extended over 35 acres, with 7-foot-thick walls resistant to up to 5 megatons, 375 times the power of the Hiroshima bomb. Inside this subterranean complex, over 400 military and civilian personnel could live and work for a month without leaving. They manned the rows of Sage computers analyzing radar feeds and communicating with U.S. bomber bases. The systems were powered by their nuclear reactor buried nearby. Through the computers, controllers in North Bay helped America keep a 24/7 nuclear vigil. The secret bunker was dubbed Site 2, or the Hole, by locals. Due to North Bay's remoteness, it became a crucial hub linking early warning stations across Canada's north to NORAD headquarters in Colorado. Guidebooks instructed personnel to bring Arctic clothing, emphasizing its vital role. As Canadian and American officers often remarked, if we lose North Bay, we lose the mainland. By the 1980s, the Sage system was retired as intercontinental missiles replaced bombers as the main nuclear threat. NORAD shifted to newer technologies, and the North Bay bunker was mothballed. The aging facility was decommissioned in 2000 after 4 decades of watching over North American skies. But the heavily fortified complex remains a cold relic of the atomic age, when the looming prospect of nuclear Armageddon hung over daily life. The muffled halls beneath North Bay remind us of years governed by mutually assured destruction. Though the geopolitical threats have evolved, the silent sentinel of Site 2 still stands ready in the granite to resume its grim early warning role if called upon once more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.